As you breathe in, see just the Holy Spirit being activated. Just when you breathe out, just see the junk of the week. Even though we're halfway, any cares, concerns, whatever you have, just with the breathe out, just see it disappear. So while you're breathing, I want you just to see Yahweh in front of you, any way you picture him. And remember the scripture with Moses that spoke to God face to face. The Hebrew is that he was with God mouth to mouth, breath to breath. So as you stand in front of Yahweh, I want you to breathe in his breath and breathe out. See him breathe in your breath. So visualize the circular motion of breathing each other's breath in. As you breathe in, be aware of just a presence, a frequency being released in your DNA as you are engaging that presence of the Lord in and through you. So just continue to do that. Let's not rush that. See that Yahweh is releasing something from within his spirit into your spirit. And the whole process of the breathing is you just calibrating your spirit with his spirit. I want you to feel as you're breathing, it is as if your spirit is lifting up. Start to become aware that as you breathe in the breath of God, that your spirit is becoming more aware of the throne room realities rather than the realities of the earth. So you're busy shifting your consciousness. I want you to start tuning in your ears to the environment around you. I want you to become aware as you are in the garden. You can hear the river, you can hear the plants, the flowers. They give off sound, they give off frequency. Just become aware of the environment around you. There where you are, I want you to visualize the Hebrew letters. You don't have to see each one individually. You can just see them patterned around in a circle, from Aleph all the way around to Tav. If you are not aware of the Hebrew letters, just see a circle with letters, Hebrew letters. I want you to walk into that circle. It can be a hologram, however you're comfortable in picturing it. And as you see those letters, I want you to see them starting to slowly but surely turn in a circular motion. And then that they start spinning in a circle, and you are in that circle. So as they spin around, I want you just to become aware that in that circle of the Hebrew letters that are starting to spin around, there is like a vortex within your spirit starting to open up. Just take a moment and just experience that whole process of those letters circling around and starting to open a door within you. Now, as you experience that frequency, that vibration being released from those letters, whether you are feeling something or not, it is happening to your spirit irrespectively. I want you to see in your midst those Hebrew letters merging into the Dalet. So roughly, if you don't know, the Dalet pretty much looks like a 7. And just see that formation of the Dalet starting to form, but you now need to see it rising up into a massive structure, as in hundreds of meters high, wide, here in front of you. And just see that thing growing. As it rises up in front of you, I want you to see to the right of that Dalet is an angel standing. It is the angel of Dalet. The angel carries the mandate for Dalet, carries the key for Dalet. And that angel facilitates everything that Dalet stands for, functions, etc. So I want you to go to that angel. And the angel of Dalet has got a key that he's going to give to you. We do this every time because it's important that that key activates your engagement. I want you to take that key from the angel, and I want you to stick it into Dalet. You open, and then you put that key into your spirit and you open. When you do that action, I want you to see it's like a hurricane that just gets released from that Dalet into your spirit. So immediately with the two open gates in your spirit and Dalet, a synchronicity, if I said that right, starts to happen within your spirit and Dalet, the two becoming one. I want you to take just a minute or two and just go through that process and experience what happens in your spirit. And then when it's released, just soak it up. Just soak up what Dalet is releasing in your spirit. Okay, what I want you to picture now is that a Dalet is the door. It means gateway, pathway, and I want you to see, because we want to do a combination here, I want you to see through Dalet. Now, Dalet, when you look at it, it can look like a door post scenario. You look through it, and I want you to see Gimel coming from the distance. Gimel is the third Hebrew letter, and it means camel. Gimel carries from the spirit realm into the physical realm. I want you to see Gimel coming from the distance through Dalet, and it steps into your spirit. Now you've breathed in Dalet, you've activated that door. Gimel is your supernatural provision. Dalet positions you supernaturally, so that that provision that is released, that it is, or the provision that is brought from Gimel is released into a specific circumstance. So I want you to let's take 2-3 minutes, and just because I want to do an activation within your circumstances. And then I want to, then from there, we're going to give feedback regarding the experience. Because you want to activate Dalet into a circumstance. The esoteric experience is wonderful, but you want to see a practical reality of it in your daily life, right? So I want you to consider a situation, a circumstance, um, a work project, a financial issue, whatever it is. Once you've established what you want the manifestation to happen, I want you to take that situation and to take Dalet and place it on top of that. So whether it is a work project or whether it is a bond or what, you'll know. I want you to place Dalet on top of that thing, and then I want you to see Gimel walk through Dalet into that situation. Okay, so we're doing an activation into a physical circumstance that you're facing. So I'll give you 2-3 minutes to go for that. I want you to become aware now of what is being released into that circumstance. So let's refine what is being released in those circumstances and just be sensitive. And I want to open it up from here as to any feedback you want to give as to what you felt when you engaged with the door of Dalet, with Gimel coming through, and what you feel Yahweh is showing you and releasing into your current circumstance to engage with. If your experience is something completely different, that's okay. It is purely what God is showing you.
So when you said I saw myself in the throne room, and then before you said to see the letters around in a circle, I actually saw I was seated with the Lord on the 24. I saw the thrones around us, and then I just couldn't understand why he said the elders weren't on the thrones. And then you said to see the Hebrew letters around us. I was like, oh, okay. And then, and I had already felt the spinning star. And then when it did, that ride at the fair, that it spins in a circle and the centrifugal force keeps it against the wall, and then the bottom falls out. What I felt happening when the Gimel came through the door is I felt that it was bringing me the roots. I felt like the bottom fell out, but what the Lord was showing me is the roots grow deep, which is interesting. It's something I've been asking for, deeper roots, and the Lord had told me before getting on here that I give you an outcome that didn't exist before, but yet it already existed. And so I just felt like this. I was just, I can't even, like the bottom, it went out, but it was showing me that just the depths, and I just kept going in and down and in and down, and just feeling like so anchored in as a door, and in a door and in the roots. That's that's like the only way I can describe it.
That's awesome, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just want to confirm that I also saw the 24 as I was standing up. Actually, was while we were breathing, I did circular breathing, and I found myself standing with Yahweh on his throne, like literally on his throne at the highest point. And around us was the 7 spirits, and around them was the 24 elders, and around them was the angels. And my Dalet doorway is a super tube. Probably because it's going into my son's life, so it makes more sense. But the feeling I got was that the door is open now, and Gimel just said, just chuck in whatever you need to chuck in through the breath. Just keep on pouring in whatever needs to be done. I did see lifeguards in his water park, which was nice to see. There's some security, but it's a pretty cool vision to see how that ends up.
Awesome.
Just keep on chucking in.
There we go. Don't stop. Thank you, Marcel. I had a pretty unique experience. It was both in the week and now in standing in the Hebrew letters as they were spinning and going around, and I mentioned this at church on Sunday as well, is that the letters merged into one, creating a new letter, which was a very unique experience for me. And from there, it grew into a heart and then manifested Jesus to me. And I was so excited about that because I just felt that Yahweh is starting to open doorways of new engagement and to see the practical release of things in the heavenlies into the earth. I'm more and more starting to realize in implementing the Hebrew letters when it comes to my prayer life and releasing things. That's why I wanted to do the example with you regarding the Dalet and the Gimel into a situation, but maybe afterwards I'll take 5 minutes just to explain to you maybe some practicalities regarding praying. And so and just breathing in that frequency, and I just realized that with those Hebrew letters that were turning, that God was busy grafting and creating something new in my spirit. A new doorway was being opened. And you know, when we realize that we are the gates of Zion, so wherever we go, we are the ones that control the spirit realm, and we release. I just felt that through engaging Dalet, that God was opening up something new to be released onto the earth, something new being released into my circumstances. And so, but I like to be specific in that, you know, I want to know what is being released. You know, it's nice and something new is being released. Yay! I want to know what it is. And so I'm at that place now where, you know, I just want to engage with Yahweh with it. So that's been my experience so far.
That's amazing because I thought, no, I should have known better. But I was sitting there and I thought, a new letter. I kid you not. And I saw a V, so I guess it could be the bottom end of the heart. But then I saw, and I wondered what it, you know, what the final outcome was. And then I saw, I think it's called an Ankh. You know, the cross with the loop at the top, you know?
Yes.
And I thought, no. I said, you know, my head is going, no. But but that's so interesting because that would represent, you know, union with Yeshua all the time. And so anyway, yes,
Wow.
that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Cheryl. I would have thought I was not, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, I'm glad you shared, you know, because I was starting to think I'm going nuts. So now I'm not alone.
Yes, I'm in great company then. Thank you.
Can I share?
Go for it, Claudia.
I just wanted to honor you for having me on your Zoom today. One of the things I saw is like Gimal just came to me, and all the letters for the last week, I have been, all the letters are in us. I want to just share that we all have the full kingdom inside of us. And it's just for us to know who we are. And I saw the spiral, you know, it was just moving, you know, like Jacob's ladder. Well, Jacob's ladder is in us. So that DNA, you know, that circle that come in and out with little lines in our DNA, well, all the letters, let me tell you something. We have letters that we haven't even tap into yet.
Yes.
We just have 23, but let me tell you, there are millions of letters, and I saw them like little dots, and they were just saying, "Hi, Claudia. Hi, Claudia." They acknowledge us, not just me. They acknowledge all of us. Now, the thing about it, it's just going to be amazing. When you said, "Let us engage," they were really, they were right there, and I just went into them because I don't know. I just started doing the Hebrew letter with Daniel Cook.
Mm.
Um, so I'm in his school, and so all the letters are there. I have his book. If you all will see the book, it's awesome. If you could get the book, it's awesome. It just helps you to grow. Now, I don't know, but this is a feeling that I got this week. I don't know if I will ever be able to see the whole kingdom before I leave this earth, which I was always asking God since I was a little child. I want to be like Enoch. I want to be like Enoch. So when I saw, I have open doors is amazing. You're talking about Dalet. My my ministry is Open Doors Collection, and I have Open Doors in Heaven Day One. I have a whole set of teaching in YouTube. So when you told me to go in, and I put Dalet in there, Dalet was going and supplying. When you say, just bring it, what is your needs and circumstances, I saw the Father hand went into Dalet and Gamel, and his hands was just touching everything, touching all the YouTube. His hands literally went and touched everything. And then he touched my mouth, and then he touched all my collection that I sell, and just his big hands, and then his hands touched me. It went all over my body, and then he touched my lips, and he touched my eyes, and I said, okay, I want to know more. I want to know why you touched me now. So it's deeper. It's always getting deeper and deeper. But I want to share this with you. All you all got to do is just say yes and amen, and everything will just come to you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for sharing that experience. It was awesome. And yes, I agree. The Friends of Eba book is an amazing book. I'll put that link in the blog next week again. It is in, not last week, the week before blog, I put the link in, but I'll in the next one, I'll put it in again. It's a wonderful book. Love Daniel lots.
So, hello.
Hello, Patricia.
So in the beginning, when we were doing the breathing exercise, and I had this encounter with Jesus where we were face to face, and he was pressing his forehead into mine, mouth into mine. I hope you can hear me okay, because my internet is acting weird. And, we were doing the breathing exercise, and he started cracking jokes. He started making these jokes. They were really good, and we were having a great time. And then when we did the thing with the entire alphabet, it was like the cosmic halo. And we went for a swim. But before that even happened, when we were breathing, he suddenly put his arms around me like you do for someone when you're doing the Heimlich maneuver. Yeah. But I was facing him, and it was like, woof, and he pulled me in really hard, and the breathing was even heavier, and it was awesome. But this is the weird thing. I'm probably so immature because when we were doing that exercise or activation, I fell asleep. Who falls asleep? I fell asleep. I'm like, we're supposed to be getting all of this and, you know, this activation, and I fell asleep. So embarrassing. You're not supposed to fall asleep.
Well, that's a new one for me.
Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I fell asleep.
Well, I hope Dalet made sure you had a nice snooze there, Patricia.
It's too relaxing. But that's good. I'm resting, so God is
There
good.
we go.
And I got these cards from Daniel. Boop, boop. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, real nice. Boop, boop, boop. Whole set. Real nice.
That's it. Yeah.
So I actually laid them upon that thing that, you know, I want them to move
Yeah.
upon. All right.
Shal, can I just share what happened? So,
Go for it, Glenda.
thank you. So, as we entered in, so the letters all combined into that vortex, into that open door, and that door rose up as you were speaking. I could just see it rise up into this huge door. But I remained tiny. I felt so small compared to the size of this door. I was tiny, and my angel standing next to me was tiny as well. And as he gave me that key and I engaged, I could just hear the sound. It was this voo, voo, voo sound. And then he took me through, and Marcel said a super tube. For me, so I had a super tube last week, but this week it was the same tunnel feeling, but it was more a gold tunnel, and I could see the light, but it was like a gold tunnel as we were going through it. And as I came out, I realized I was literally standing on, there's a place here called Uluru. It's known as the heart of Australia. So when you said heart, I was, oh, wow. And so I could hear, all I could hear was this didgeridoo playing in the background. It was, I could just hear that hardcore of Australia being played from there. And so I started asking, what am I here for? What is this? You know, why? And I was just there to release light. And as he said that, I just felt my arms fall to my side and my head just go up. And it was like this tunnel of light, this vortex, or this pillar of light, just shooting up, straight up from my being, up.
Sure.
And so just releasing light into that place, and that's the heart of Australia, I believe. So a very, very profound experience for me tonight. Thank you.
Sure. That is awesome, Glenda. So that also means that there's something to be released from you over Australia or the city where you find yourself. So that's an amazing experience. I can't hear if anybody's trying to talk. I heard a little bit of a sound. Oh yes, Shane, is it you?
Yeah, I'm trying. This doesn't work that well, I don't think.
You're very faint, so if you can get closer.
I didn't see much, and I was late coming on I couldn't find the link anyway. But I just felt immense shifts going on in my spirit. I start breathing deeply, and it's I can feel things. It happens in intercessions at times, but it was hectic. I could feel immense things changing in the spirit, and I just saw a release of through Gimel coming through Dalet, that there was like water pools were starting to be released. It's opening up in dry places. But it was the effect, you know, I mean, I wasn't even in the zone, if you like. It just came in and worried because I couldn't find this link, and so I missed like the first 5-10 minutes, and I went straight in. It was my spirit immediately just picked up on what was happening. It was amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shane. Has anybody experienced something regarding a release into a specific situation or circumstance?
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I had this quite wacky picture. So we've got a retreat, and a bit like you know, we need this huge financial input to make it do what it's got to do, etc., etc. So I just had this picture of the retreat in the doorway. Gimel comes along, it goes on Gimel's back, and then this speedboat appears and takes it off down the river at huge speed.
So I just want to get it right. Gimel brought in the supplies and Dalet.
Well, no, the retreat went onto so the retreat was in the doorway of Dalet. Gimel comes in, loads up the retreat on its back.
Okay, all right.
And then the next thing, we're on this huge speedboat going down this really fast river.
Now, to tie in with that, an experience that I've had that I'm still engaging with is that, and I mentioned it briefly in the blog, and it was quite a revelation for me. And in the Garden of Eden, there are 4 rivers. I can't remember each one's name now, but and garden starts with the Hebrew letter Gimel, and the 4 rivers, and Dalet is the 4th Hebrew letter. And I've realized that the river, that Dalet channels what Gimel brings. So Gimel, yes. So Gimel brings the supply, but through Dalet channels it to the right circumstances. And that was quite a revelation for me. So based on that, when we finished with the throne room engagement, then I'll take 5 minutes and just chat to you guys about engaging Gimel and Dalet in your prayer life to make it practical.
Awesome. Mind-blowing, in fact. Mind-blowing.
Yeah, definitely.
My experience when Gimel came through the door Gimel came with a rushing river and was pouring water like flooding the doorway.
Wow. I like that. And was there anything specific that water was going or channeling towards, just penetrating your spirit?
Nothing specific, no. It was just flooding everything.
To release.
Like washing, bringing life. I heard life.
Okay.
And it was like turquoise color all around me.
Yeah.
So turquoise and like sapphire. Those were the colors that I was seeing. I see a lot of color in my encounters. So it was turquoise and sapphire. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I mean, sapphire is throne room stuff, I think we're all aware of that. So there's definitely, something about being released from the throne room in that water if there's sapphire within that.
Michelle, I just want to show. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I'm just going to quickly show something what I drew last week when I engaged my little rainbow, or big rainbow. I don't know if you can. This way. You see that?
Okay, yeah.
Aleph, Bet brings it in, Gimel carries it, and then Dalet splits it up into where it needs to go.
That's it. Nice. So it's like the rivers.
Yeah.
Can you show it again, please? I was not looking.
Pay attention, Jennifer.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful.
When you said that we should bring Dalet into whatever situation is that we need some changing or whatever, I saw Kimal riding coming very fast towards me on a camel, and he was in the image of a beautiful young man, and he bent down and he gave me 3 white tablets. And he said that was the answer to the problem.
Okay. So you need to chew on those tablets a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to, let's go back into a peaceful state. If you fall asleep, I understand. It's all about peace and rest. And just still your spirit again. And I just want you to see Dalet in front of you. Now, Dalet wants to show you where you need to place it as a new door. Can be anything. So I want you to engage with the angel of Dalet to receive a scroll that will plant in your spirit. If you can read it, it can be an impression, but just take a bit of time and just see that in front of you, the angel, and engage with that Dalet is wanting to be placed somewhere new, where God is wanting to open a new door of engagement in your life. I know it's very broad, and so as you stand there, focus on Dalet. And I want that picture just to imprint into your spirit. Just receive what Dalet is giving off towards you. And just align your spirit with Dalet. So you're just engaging, you're soaking up the frequency that's coming from Dalet, the colors. Because remember, in the times that we are now, we all realize that we are being put on a new plane of engagement. The realms in the spirit are opening up, that is putting the sons of God in places that they've never engaged before, which is pretty exciting. And Dalet is wanting to open that door for you to step into. So let's play a bit with our imagination. So I want you to just, there where you are standing and you are looking at Dalet, I want you to just imagine circles. It's realms that are moving up and through you and in you. And as each one moves in and through you, you're becoming aware of a new door that is opening up in your spirit, that is just going to place you on a new plane of engaging in the spirit realm, authority. Just take a minute and just soak up that experience. As each realm plays itself in and through your spirit, it doesn't matter how you experience it or picture it. It doesn't matter. We're operating by faith. After a while, you start feeling something settle in your spirit. Because Yahweh is wanting to give you the new now. It's the next. So if an example I can use, you've probably seen the game show, spin the wheel, and you spin the wheel and it turns, and then eventually it settles on a number or a picture. That's what's happening in your spirit now. It's settling into a specific picture. I want you to just, in your spirit, just what is that picture that is starting to settle in front of you? It can be anything. There's no specific once. So let's just take a minute or two. Just first have that experience and we'll take it from there. I don't want to plant things in your spirit, but I'm going to. You know, like a viewfinder, you look into that toy and you got that disc and you press the button and a new picture comes up, and I keep on seeing the pictures that are coming up is what Yahweh destined in the beginning of time to manifest now in your life. So that picture that you going to see, whether it be faint, it can be a corner of the picture, it can be a puzzle piece of the picture, it can be the whole thing. But there is something that God is opening up. That picture is the new realm that you are going to step into. When you've got that picture, I want you to go to the angel of Dalet. And you take the scroll and the mandate, the key for that picture, that realm that you are going to step into now. You take it from him. You walk to that picture. You shove that scroll into the picture. You take that key, you open the door of that picture, and you step right into it. When you step into that picture, I want you to see Gimel following you and walking through that picture in with you. When Gimel is in that picture with you, you need to start offloading what is on top of Gimel into that picture. I want you to look behind you and to realize that picture is the old one. I want you to go and I want you to put the key into the old picture and I want you to lock it and I want you to close its doors. That old, the realm that you were used to in, we've stepped into the new, that on the next that God is going to do in and through your life. A Gimel came in with you, so in other words, the supplies are being released in this new realm and dimension. I'll open it up if there's anything that anybody saw or...
Before you planted it in my mind, I was actually already seeing a different me, and what, the fullness of what God was birthing in me. And I noticed the colors of it were very bright and vibrant. And I noticed that I unpacked several things, which is interesting. I unpacked paintbrushes and paints and an easel, and which is interesting. And I unpacked suitcases and some other things, and then I said, well, where's the supply? And then I heard all the supplies, you have everything you need. And then when you sent it, lock the other picture, when I looked back at it, it was all those, you know how the old pictures were in a certain color that's, you know, sepia or like just no life in it, but like reddish kind of, or grayscale or whatever. That's exactly what what I looked like.
I know what you're talking about, because the picture I saw was sort of like 70s retro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that kind of color.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. And wow, thank you.
But you know
That's such a
what that
blessing.
means, Jennifer? It means that the fact that you have paint and a paintbrush is that it just, for me, it speaks of co-creating with Christ. He gives you the picture, but he says you have your part to play in making the destiny of that realm to be released.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
I was spinning through galaxies and dimensions, stars, whatever. I don't know what to call it. And I was spinning so fast, I was falling, going up, going down, back and forth. And I said to Yahweh, this is too much. Can't I just settle my feet on a little foundation or something? And he said to me, you are done with any foundations. You are a mature son. You can do this on your own. And when we have to look at our turn and look what is at our back, I saw the earth. And he said to me that you will not operate from the earth again. That realm is closed now.
Yes, I like that language. Operates supernatural.
All this makes sense with mine as well. I saw, my picture that I saw is Dalet being on God's hand, and he was reaching through my spirit into my body, and the Dalet was imprinting onto my heart. And it was like a docking station. And the door opened, and he said, now step out of your heart. And in front of me was a big staircase leading up. And as I was walking up, I came to the top, and I saw big vastness again, and Gimel stepped out next to me, and it's like we were new settlers. And he started unpacking, ready to build a cabin or something. And when you mentioned about original intent, before all this, I had communion, and I just felt to invite Resh with me and to prepare the way. And yeah, so I went down, locked the door. I'm out of that heart now and into the new settlement.
So that's it. Thank you, Marcel. If I can just say something that's just coming up in my spirit that I remember I taught on at some point, is that I can't remember the details, so forgive me if I miss it here and there, but it is when the ark was captured and David went to go get the ark again, because the ark was in Bethel, I think, was the home of the ark. And then they captured the ark and took it away, and then David went to go fetch the ark again. But the scripture says that they moved past Bethel. So in other words, the ark traveled through the promised land, and they took it to the city of David, to Zion, and that's where the Ark of the Covenant rests. And that is very significant for me, because there's a difference between Christians that want to settle in the promised land and sons of God who want to operate in Zion. And that is the difference. When God is changing realms, when we operate from Zion, it is far and above than settling into promised land stuff. This is different. This is the picture that God is starting to open up. This is for me the next and the new, because God is starting to reveal what it is to really operate from Zion. And when we realize that actually God doesn't want us to settle. He doesn't want the settlers who park off in the promised land. He wants us to follow the ark through that promised land, and let's go and occupy Zion, operate from Zion. So I just want to add that in my spirit to just drop it with you. Don't know if there's anybody else that would like to share.
I saw 3 pictures instead of just one, and I'm not sure what they really mean. I think I was just stuck on those pictures that I saw. So I first saw a shovel. I don't know. And then I saw, I had to write it down, a musical note. And then I saw an eagle. And then I asked the angel for the scroll. So he gave me the scroll, and then I saw myself pushing it into each one, and it was just being sucked up by each one. And then that was it. That was it.
So sucked up in the shovel. So it was a shovel, the eagle, and
a musical note.
Musical note. Okay. So, you know, just off the top of my head, if I think of eagle is prophetic and insight, and shovel, there's deep mysteries and engagement that God is wanting to reveal. And what was the other one?
A musical note.
A musical note, which is just new sound, new frequency. And you know what what I'm starting to experience is that we're starting to hear new sounds that we don't know about, that there are musical notes we are not aware of, that God is busy releasing from the heavenly realms, and that the sons of God are going to engage a new sound and a new release, which is going to combine a new song, which opens up a completely different new portal of engagement. So I like that. I think there's lots you can actually meditate on that one, Patricia.
Yeah, I will.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
The first engagement we did 3 or 4 weeks ago, I remember I saw my DNA, and I saw the Hebrew letters attached to my DNA, and I saw musical notes that were attached to the Hebrew letters. There you go.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, can I share?
Yes, please do, Claudia.
I just want to bring up this this picture here. It's a camel. I don't know if everybody's seen it. Let me bring it up there.
Okay, there we go.
I was given that camel in 2018. And since I got that camel, because I was just engaging, and this woman, she collects camel, didn't even know why she collects camel, and I went to spend some time. And when I was leaving, she brought it to the vehicle, and she said, I want to present this camel to you. And I just started weeping. And ever since she gave me that camel, I'm never out of anything. God just supply everything. And I would speak to the camel, and literally that camel will speak to me. I will ask that camel, and I will say, "Can I give you another name?" And just as camel, he said, "That's okay. Just call me Gimel if you want, and whatever you want to call me, you can call me. If you want to give me another name, you can call me. But I just honor. I always honor. But where I am right now, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm in New York City right now. But I usually do my ministry. So my camel is all the way in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I keep calling him. And so I travel all over, going different people's home every year. I'm doing this for more than 25 years. And when you say lock the door from the back, I want to stop going from home to home. I want my own home now. So, and then I saw Dalet give me a key from my home, and Gamel went in there. So this is, I don't understand the whole thing, but I just receive it by faith. And I just wanted to share that with you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Claudia. Okay, last minute, anybody else?
I have something.
Go for it.
Regarding a position of standing in a doorway of light, which is Dalet, of course, in my understanding. And as I was standing there, everything in front of me was dark. Everything behind me was very lit up, glorious light. And I understood that the only way that that light could transfer from behind me to in front of me as I stood in the doorway was to speak, was to allow it to come out of my mouth. And it was like liquid honey, like gold. And I became aware of wisdom holding my hand. And the thing that I had to leave behind was fear, and exchange that for courage, because that's the only way that the, in my life anyway, that the light will break into the darkness. And the door is my mouth, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, thank you, Tina. More and more, you know, we know of abracadabra is a Hebrew word, and it means that, oh, as I speak, I create. And more, we're going to start to see the physical manifestation of our words, that we're going to see the real reality of speaking into situations and shaping and forming our circumstances. So yeah, I resonate what you're saying, Tina, absolutely. Okay, there we are. Let's close off with this. If you can close your eyes, and just want you to see and picture Gimel again. But I want you to picture Gimel, sorry, not Gimel, Dalet, as Jesus, as Yeshua standing there, because ultimately Jesus is the door. Through him we find pasture. So I want you to see Jesus standing and the Dalet that is just intertwined into who and what he is. And I want you to move closer to Jesus. And I would just want you to see Yeshua just wrap his arms around you. And I want you to just a second, just feel that presence of him wrapping around you. And it's he's infusing that Dalet into your spirit. And he's just sealing that activation of today into your spirit, man. I don't want you to move out of the picture where you are, because you're into your new. That old doesn't exist anymore. So I just want you to see, like wrapping paper, how that picture is just being wrapped around you, and it just becomes one with you. See that wrapping paper of that picture is just goes around your DNA. It becomes one with your DNA. It releases that frequency, the song, the notes, the colors, because it's new. It's just being infused onto your DNA. Jesus, we just want to thank you for what you've released into our spirit. Thank you that you are the door, that the living letters find their expression in and through you, as you are the Word. And we just thank you. We just honor you, Jesus. Thank you for the privilege of experiencing what you've shown us today. Thank you for the privilege of being your sons. It's such an honor, such a privilege, and we love you, Jesus. We love you, we love you, we love you, we love you. Hallelujah. You know, for me, I have a rule, and I suppose it's a safety measure for me for whatever you would like to make of it, but I always want to know, what have I learned about Jesus out of this engagement? It's always about Jesus for me, because he is the door. And if Scripture says that it was the Father's will that everything should find its movement in and through Christ, then that is my mojo as well. And so when I pray, so firstly, I just want to say, if you have to go, you're welcome to go. I'll take 5 or 7 minutes just to explain this. I know that there might be, for some, that feel the Hebrew letters are foreign, or it's a new engagement for you. You know, when I got into the Hebrew letters, 99% of it just flew over my head. It was just like, but as I started to engage, as I started to read, slowly but surely, one puzzle piece comes together into the next. We always think of wanting to start in the beginning, but the beginning is when you start. I like a quote from Mark Twain: the best way to get somewhere is to start. And you've started. So some of you are a long way down the line, and maybe some of you feel like, yeah, there's so much of it that just goes over my head. And I want to tell you that is okay. It is, you've got to have the faith as well to know that with every engagement, there is something more that gets planted in your spirit that just continues to build your engagement. And as you grow, some of the stuff you won't understand. There's some things I don't understand that I just engage by faith, you know. I also just engage by faith, and I just, Lord, show me, teach me, engage me. So I want to encourage you with that don't get despondent that there might be something that you don't understand or anything. Just keep on going. As you go, slowly but surely, there will just be, you'll look back and you'll realize, wow, I grew. So I just wanted to encourage you with that. When I pray, I've learned to engage the Hebrew letters in my prayer life. So obviously I've told you, for me, it is about Christ always. I position, as you get to know the Hebrew letters and as your revelation grows, you will start to use the Hebrew letters for different things. So firstly, for me, a Hebrew letter, apart from being part and who Christ is as the Word, it represents something. And firstly, it's a key for me, and it is a doorway. Like Dalet is a door, so a Hebrew letter is a door. We know that the Talmud teaches that that Yahweh or Elohim created with the Hebrew letters. Now, there was a guy's name, and I can't remember what his name was, but he created a device, just to as an example. And through this device that would project on a screen, he used all the known languages that he could think of, and he projected it through this machine. I'll find the name for you. And every language that he programmed through this machine, there would be some reaction or whatever. And interesting, the English language had the least reaction out of all the languages. But when he spoke the Hebrew language into this machine, it created the letters onto the screen. So in other words, out of all the languages, the Hebrew language was the only language that created. So when I pray, for instance, now let's take Gimel and Dalet. So I am engaging, so I'm praying for something regarding the church. And I always pray that, Lord, I engage Gimel, and I position Gimel. So I'm now using the church as the subject. You can use it as whatever. I position Gimel at the gates of center stage. I engage the angel of Dalet to facilitate what Dalet has to open and release what Gimel is bringing to center stage. I engage Gimel and the angel of Gimel to unlock the provision that needs to be released within the church to facilitate the new blueprint that is being released for center stage. I engage the angel of Dalet to open the gates and the doors to channel that which is being released from Gimel and the provisions into whatever it is I might be praying into center stage. So it's a very simple example, but I engage and I use the letters and activate them because they are a key and a doorway into the situation. Does that make sense to you? Now, so I do it with other letters, etc. With Bet, you are the temple. Remember, as the temple, that's why I'm starting to teach our congregation to start operating your provision supernaturally. You, as the temple, have storehouses attached to it. So it's exactly like the temple was built in ancient times. The temples had storehouses attached to it. In those storehouses were the plunders of the enemy that they went to go and capture. You are the temple, you are Bet. You have access to the storehouses in the spirit realm that God has attached to you to facilitate your destiny and scroll. So every provision that you could possibly need to fulfill your destiny till the day you die lies in that storehouse. You need to speak to your guardian angel, to communicate with the angel that is standing by your storehouses, to unlock those storehouses, and that angel needs to facilitate the release of the provisions within your storehouses as a temple to be released into your circumstances. Learn to engage the angels, because the angels carry the keys and the mandates. Always. It's the biggest travesty in the church that we've negated the engagement with the angels, and then we think we're worshiping them. It's the biggest con the devil has ever got to sell the church, is not to teach people to engage with the angelic realm. They're the ones with the keys. So those are just a couple of basics I just wanted to throw out there for you, because we want to make the Hebrew letters practical in our daily lives. So someone popped up there, and I mentioned in the blog that an esoteric experience. An esoteric experience has got to do with your physical and emotional experience of the Hebrew letter, the goosebumps, seeing the weird and wonderful and going in deep. Esoteric is also about secretive knowledge. Now, the New Age and the occult have always made and Christians have made the whole secretive knowledge a bad thing, but it isn't. God shows you secrets that He doesn't show others. So that is pretty much what esoteric means, is the experiential factor and that secret knowledge that He imparts to the remnant and the elect. But it might be secret knowledge, but it's for everyone who is willing to engage it, you know. And sadly, few people do. But I think in the new and what we're engaging in the realms, that God is really starting to open up, that we're seeing more and more believers realizing, but listen, there's so much more about the supernatural that we are not engaging, that people are starting to get the confidence to engage the supernatural realm. So there is so much more to learn, and I want to encourage you, don't be scared of making mistakes. Start to practice, start to engage. If you make a mistake, wonderful. I mean, we can speak to Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or anybody, and they'll tell you about the mistakes they made before they got to where they are. It's the same for the sons of God. Our Father wants us to operate His empire. And to do that, we need to just step out and start doing the stuff. Otherwise, we are not going to learn. Don't be scared to engage the angelic realm. Don't be scared to engage the cloud of witnesses. You will see the spirit realm, a physical manifestation in your circumstances like you have never seen it before. I hope that helps and makes sense. Awesome. Love you guys.
Thank you.
You guys must have a lovely week. And then, see you next week with the next blog, and keep on engaging. There will be some activations in the week that I'll post on social media for you. And but love you guys lots.
What's the angel of the
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye,
Cheryl.
Amo.
Bye. Bye.
You're a wonderful teacher, Cheryl. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're a
he
wonderful
is.
teacher.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
are.
Thank you,
Yes, you are.
Eugene. Appreciate it.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Thank you, guys. Bless you.
God
Have a
bless.
Well,
lovely time.
everybody, good night.
Bye.
Bless you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Michelle. Bye, Cheryl.
Bye-bye, Tella.
Lekker aan vir julle.
Dankie jou ook.
Bye
Good night,
now.
Cheryl.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ciao,
Bye.
Jeremiah. Bye-bye, Annette.
what's the angel of blessing?
Bye-bye, Cheryl.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. The angel of Aleph is it Ariel?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I'll do a little bit of an extra piece on the blog next week just to explain the angels and how we got to those names, etc.
Yes. Oh, great.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay.
See you next week.
Ciao, guys. Bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.